of the supply chain of the fashion industry. So from the production of the cotton seeds and harvesting, and right through the different phases of the putting the garments together lah. So yeah, I guess for environmental, it is a huge impact as well. So there's so we know that production for fast fashion, it requires a lot of tons of energy. So from production, from land, harvesting, from uh, putting up, from transportation, manufacturing, there's a lot of energy being used there. So the carbon emission for that whole process is is big, is huge. So yeah, that's a bit of environmental.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Miss Hannah. Yes, correct. From BGBG also, I know that you use the seat belt car
Ah,
to do bags and many more. I think is needs expertise and energy and hopefully the supply chain also to buy and to build the products. Correct. Okay,
yes.
Miss Hannah. Then we back to Miss Naja on. Okay. For the next question is, in your point of view, how will sustainable fashion change in the view of the public in the next coming years? Miss Naja.
Sorry, I was just trying to unmute myself. So how will sustainable fashion change in the view of the public in the next coming years? That's your question, Karina. Thanks for your question.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So basically, I just wanted to let everyone know that I've been doing this a long time, and I know I don't look it, but I'm very old. I'm a Gen
Still look
Y,
young.
which means I'm a millennial. So I don't know if you guys know this, and your students are obviously very, very young people. Your
Yeah.
students are, I mean, MSU are studying fashion and design and marketing. For the guys who are watching this out there, actually, I haven't seen a lot of guys. I've seen a lot of girls, a lot of women. So I'm not sure what the balance is for fashion design. But
Guys, all the women
yeah, that's
interest
right.
about fashions. Yes.
Gen Zs, I guess, which is probably where your audience falls on, are not interested in high fashion. So they are, but they're not. So I guess what I wanted to kind of highlight here is the fact that a lot of the younger people now want to have their values match their consumption and their purchases. So even though like they might shop at H&M or Zara, which are considered obviously one of our poster boys and poster girls for fast fashion, even though they might shop there, there is a constant kind of push and pull between the damage that fast fashion is doing in terms of the environment and sort of their ethical credentials in terms of the treatment of people and women. I mean, fashion, actually, when we're talking about fashion, we're talking about women's issues and women's rights, and actually in a lot of places human rights, and especially, as Hannah was saying there before, children as well, and exploitation in terms of their labor. But I don't know if everyone is across what sustainability in fashion is. So I wanted to make a point in the fact that sustainability is not perfection, it's a journey. So, for all your audiences watching, it's really important to understand that you need to be able to understand what your consumption and your consuming behaviors are in terms of translating that into your purchases. So, for example, if you love animals and you don't want to eat meat, for example, you might not want to buy leather, and then that's where your money goes into products or brands that kind of condone that sort of behavior or process and practices. Sustainability also means supporting each other. So for me, in terms of looking at sustainability in fashion in the future, it's a myth that sustainable fashion is expensive. You can get cheap. You can get cheaper if you actually buy one really, really, really good quality garment versus 10 crazy cheap garments that you're going to throw out in the first year or so. And the statistics are saying most people throw away a lot of the fast fashion garments after the first year, which is completely wasteful. The young generation now they feel let down by their previous generation. So you see a lot of activism, and you see a lot of discontent with the way the world is being run at the moment. And I'm sure we can only not just talk about fashion here, but for a lot of things. And then so I think they would value a lot of values-driven sort of companies, and that's where the money is going to be supporting in the future. In Malaysia, we need to understand that we need to rebrand what sustainability means. So, for your audience, for example, artisanal craftsmanship. People who do craft supports sustainability in more ways than one. So you might not stamp that as a sustainability label, but it is. So you need to understand what the whole spectrum and sustainability means, and understand what that means to you, and then in the future support those sorts of brands or companies or businesses that promote those values. Malaysians already support sustainability in fashion by, swapping, giving away clothes. You would not know this, but I grew up with all hand-me-down clothes. I never had new clothes, and I turned out okay.
Yeah.
We have Best Bundle and bundle shops. We have Jalan Jalan Japan, Haida's favorite shop ever
Yes.
in Malaysia. And so we are going into some sort of the right direction, but maybe Malaysians don't necessarily brand it as sustainable consumption. But one thing I'd like to say is that mass consumerism has to stop, because I feel like the number one problem we have going to the future with fashion is waste, and that's a huge problem. I can talk more about that later, but I reckon the scene is set. Things have changed now. We've got COVID. People are consuming less. Brands are shutting down. Your favorite brands are shutting down. They can't sustain themselves. People are not spending money on things that are not basic or essential. I think people have really turned around in terms of understanding what's important in my life right now. And that means, spending time with my family, spending time with the people that I love. And, I'm not going to be consuming mindlessly. So I think we're on the way. And so it might be good for sustainability in fashion.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Answer is very long. The knowledge from Naja is very good. Yeah, sure. After that, I also not the young person, old already, but love. I also not throw all my clothes and recycle back and reuse back after COVID is. But they all said sustainable is about alteration. This is not alteration. This is how to reuse back all the old clothes, and hopefully the consumer and any agency can buy back our the sustainable products. See, so next time I can sell with you, Naja. Okay. Okay, next we go to Miss Hana Kamal. Hana Kamal. Okay, this is a question for you. What's the biggest challenge or issue that your field needs to tackle right now in terms of sustainability?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay. Okay. This question is quite interesting because for sustainable fashion, I do think that we are, like Najah mentioned just now, we are still on the way, but we are progressing. I would think we are progressing quite well because I don't know, around 10 years ago, we don't hear much about sustainable fashion. So
Yeah.
nowadays, I
Now
guess
it's
it's
many.
yeah, it's moving quite fast now, so it's pretty good. But I guess the biggest challenge would be the awareness. Awareness on sustainability, fashion sustainable towards the public and also the consumers. So it is
Mm.
still an ongoing awareness to spread to the public, and there's a limited knowledge about the clothing consumption impact on the environment and also the social. So when we talk about awareness, right, it is about changing the consumer's mindset away from purchasing from uh, fast fashion and buying a lot of new clothes which they don't really need, into investing clothes that not only will suit them and their lifestyle, but also will last longer. So in a
Yeah.
way, it benefits them because when you buy sustainable products or treated clothes, you tend to use it much longer because you have this attachment with them. So you feel that there's a you feel connected with your clothing lah. So to tackle with awareness, I think we can identify the demographics and also the purchasing power for those who buy the item. So education, age, and accessibility are the main points for the awareness lah. So I feel like there's a there's difference between the urban and non-urban people and the people who live in a smaller town versus the city folks because the tendency of having sustainable shops uh, or any type of I guess thrifted stores in the non-urban areas would be smaller than the city areas. So also the misconception of sustainable products being pricey and not worth it, while it is actually better than fast fashion. Um, Other than that, I would say that this is my another challenge would be procuring raw materials so I can briefly explain about the stuff that I did with BGBG. So basically, yes, like you mentioned just now, we used to work, I mean, we still working with seatbelt. So these seatbelts are very durable, very strong, very long lasting, and can last you for a long time, right? So
Yes.
the uniqueness of I would wait, not the uniqueness, the procuring the materials for um, sustainable products, meaning you have to find some creative methods to in a way to become product. So
To
sometimes
innovate. Mm.
sorry
To innovate also.
ah real sometimes you don't get the stuff that you want, so you need to find ways to produce the product. And sometimes when you get a whole lot of things, those items are not in the they are in a different shapes, they are in a different colors, they are in a different pattern. So it's about how you want to tweak your product instead. So another challenge would be the uniqueness of the item itself, the raw materials itself, where yeah, like I mentioned, sometimes when you get a waste but usable waste, meaning it will come to you in a smaller quantity, and some organization would want you to take everything where it's a lot of things that are have not been used and are still in boxes, which is great, but the storage of those items would be a challenge as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you, Miss Hannah. Some of clothes is not cheap. Okay.
Mm.
After you recycle back and transform to the new look, it look great and but it's not cheap. So
Yes.
actually, because this is all handmade, sometimes some products. Okay. Let's we go to Miss Haida. Before we end 10:55. Okay, AM. Just a little bit. What does okay? Sorry. Can you share any tips or ideas on how to design, construct, or upcycle fashions, Miss Aida?
Okay, so I'm actually in that mode right now to find ways to upcycle the clothes that I have.
Oh,
So
Good.
since moving from Kuala Lumpur to Dubai, because I back in Kuala Lumpur, I actually have a whole archive. Like I have two big rooms filled with clothes because
oh,
sometimes when I work with my clients, I have to buy stuff for them, and then when I style them, and then obviously they're not going to wear it again because it's like too out there, it is too over the top, so it just stays there in my room. So when I move over to Dubai, I have this huge like clutter of clothes that I don't know what to do with, because obviously I with COVID and whatever that's happening right now, I am not able to use them for any projects. So I am spring cleaning, and while I'm spring cleaning, I don't want to just give the clothes away, if you know what I mean, because they have a sentimental value to me, but I can't wear them all the time. So for
Sayang.
me, what I do is I actually do research. First thing I do is do research. I look at the trends now, or don't even
Yeah.
have to look at trends, even research from way back when. Like, for instance, I have a lot of batik fabric, leftover batik fabric from previous shoots. So what I did was I kind of deconstruct them into more contemporary style of like blouses or skirts. And it's actually being used, and I wear it every day, and I loved it. And I think it's also about just, when you look at a piece of garment, let's say a blazer jacket, a vintage blazer jacket. So you can do so many things to it. You can crop it, you can splice it to different panels, and a lot of designers in Malaysia has been doing this as well. Contoh macam what's that design called? Bevsy. I think Fin Studio also did something similar where they use, like, how you say, vintage items and upcycled it. Another notable designer that you should look forward to know about how he uses these materials is also Ugly Pretty. So what he did was he found denim jeans and I think it's just some random jackets, and he made it into beautiful corsets. And he didn't even sell it expensive, but you would appreciate that even more, because not just that it is handmade or made by this person, but also because it's a unique piece. You'll never find it anywhere else. It's every single piece is different. So for me, it's great that people are like that people are taking stands about this. And I think as designers, as you're going to be future designers, I would say that, go on ahead and find references and make full use of the resources that we already have hanging in the bundle stores, hanging in the bargain bins or whatever. Like a lot of my favorite designers, even the biggest, like my current favorite ones, a lot of Malaysian celebrities are wearing them as well. Marine Serre, I hope I said that correctly. It's a French label, and she just delivered her latest Paris Fashion Week collection. I believe it was SS21. By using carpets. She went to vintage stores. She find rugs, carpets, and all this discarded fabric to make beautiful clothes. With like splicing different materials together, and they look expensive and they're unique because each of them are being spliced using things there's a background story to it. So I feel like research is very important. Find out what your style is, how to work, and I'm sure when you study in fashion, you will probably understand a lot more about construction, about sewing. Unlike me, I wish I studied in fashion and like know how to sew by myself and stuff. So use the tools and skills that you've acquired from studying and having all this time to like read through magazines, go through all the fashion reports, and just be proactive in
Yeah,
creating a collection.
correct.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Haida. I also background in business management, but I doing fashion
Yeah.
because I love fashion, learn about fashion. So okay, yes, I also love to redesign, not only restructure, to look a new look, or can do crafted also the old clothing and many things we can do after this coming awareness about the sustainable fashion. See, okay, now we have a break, 10:55, just a while. Okay, we know every topic is very interesting. Both of you very more experience to share, and knowledge also to the MSU student. But we have a limited time, so we have break on 10:55 and come back around 10:11 to Q&A for the participants. Okay.
Thank you to our panelists and moderator for an interesting talk just now. That was indeed a fruitful and engaging discussion.
Guess has been making clothes for over 35 years. And as we look to the next 35 years, we believe circular fashion is the future. At Guess, we're committed to promoting circular fashion, the idea that clothing should be continuously reused, reworn, and repurposed. Resource, our new product take back program. was designed to make it easy for customers to take back their unwanted clothing and shoes for recycling. And this will prevent them from going to the landfill. Precious resources were used to make the clothing and shoes that we wear. This makes clothing and shoes valuable even when you're done with them.
Up to 75% of all clothing anywhere is made out of cotton. It's one of the most common agricultural crops. I'm excited about the fact that customers are concerned about sustainability because it is important. You know, maybe a pair of jeans costs $4 more, but if you could prove it came from a place that respects its workers and respects its soil and grows with the highest regulations in the world, I think that means something to consumers.
We're taking steps to promote circular fashion. Together with our partner ICO, an industry leader in global textile and footwear recycling, we will find your items next best life.
Our mission and true commitment is to create a circular economy for the fashion and textile industry. And what that really means is that all of our clothing and shoes, we don't want that to go to the landfill or to incineration anymore. We want to be able to keep that in a closed process so that all of it can either be reused or brought back down into raw material to create new product.
I think denim gets better with age. So to be able to take something that's been used and loved and turn it into something else is kind of exciting. We customize denim and we make stuff out of recycled denim like dog beds, bags, blankets, pillows. I was working at a clothing company and there was a lot of waste. So I was thinking of an idea of what we can do with all these samples and this waste that we don't use or sell. The idea and reusing and that things are precious and when they have a story behind it, to be able to make them into new products that will then continue the story is, to me, special.
Through this program and resourcing products into something new, we're helping reduce our impact on the planet by doing more with what we already have.
Recycling means to me you're being as efficient as possible with the limited resources that we have. Building a recording studio, and I started looking into materials. I found the Ultra Touch insulation was a fourth of the cost of the standard studio and 80% recycled denim, but it's also has a higher sound absorption rate. It just is within your sphere of influence that you can make that impact.
We make weighted blankets. They're hand crocheted cotton blankets that breathe and essentially give you like a giant hug. So we have a little girl named Ransom. She's 4 years old and she was diagnosed with sensory processing disorder. We were told over and over that a weighted blanket could really help her. I was actually making a rag rug out of scraps. When it was on my lap, I could just feel the weight of it. And I realized that this would probably be a perfect blanket for my daughter. So I rushed down to the fabric district and I met some people who source recycled fabric that companies don't use and they get discarded. I cut it into strips and I tied it together and it ended up being this amazing blanket that the second we put it on my daughter, it calmed her down. You could see her physically just like relax. I love reusing things and repurposing things because there's already enough things in this world.
My name is Sherry Smith. We are now in sunny San Diego, California, and I'm the CEO of Greenfield Paper Company. We have a zero waste policy at our company. We do not throw away anything that is used in the paper making process. Everything is repurposed. A local company that came to us with a mission to recycle their uniforms. And there were bags of uniforms that they needed to dispose of because they had branded material on them. And we were able to take those shirts and recycle them into paper, which was then turned into bookmarks, and they were given out at an event to children to make them aware of the whole process of how the uniforms were turned into paper.
The ultimate goal, which the industry is working toward, is to continuously recycle old clothing and shoes into new clothing and shoes. But until then, it's so important that we contribute to the circular fashion system and recycle and rewear and reuse what we already have. We encourage everyone not to waste the clothing and shoes that you once loved, whether it's through the Guest Resource Program or sharing clothes with friends, donating to charity, or buying vintage. Now go home, Find 5 or more items of clothing and shoes you no longer wear and bring them to any Guess brand store for recycling. And we'll give you a 15% off discount your next full price purchase. And don't forget, we want your clothes.
Sustainability is reinvention.
That is thinking long term.
Eliminate waste, reuse what we already have.
Sustainability is what I do.
Okay, hi, we back. Okay, nice video, interesting topics. Hope we can furthermore discussion with Haida, Hana, and make good relations because you are different country. Okay, so we go to Q&A here. I got few questions. So okay, 7 questions, but maybe Haida or Hana or Najah can answer one of these questions. How can this is from Danish? How can we incorporate sustainable ideas into our daily life? Who can answer this? Maybe Najah.
Oh, hi. Okay. Thank you, Manish, for your question. I guess I wanted to understand what your understanding of sustainability is. So just to recap, and I don't know if you guys do this, if you guys have got an elective at university about sustainability in fashion or something. If you don't, talk to me. I do this all the time. But just to answer that question, I guess it really depends on what you feel is valuable and what value is important to you. So, for example, some people would like to support local, and so what that means is that they only buy locally available products instead of imported food, for example, or seasonal food. So only buy what is available to you at the time from your local growers, for example. Some people want to reduce their consumption of plastic. So what that means is that you might have to bring your keep cup with you when you go get your coffee, and then you might leave one in the car or something. Oh, well, by the way, if you're not driving, then you have to carry it with you. And things like bring your own Tupperware to the pasar malam instead of like literally have those small little plastic bags that you use once and then you throw it away, and you use once and it's ridiculous.
No plastic bag now. Okay.
Yeah. So really, it's really up to what is important to you. So for me, for example, what's important to me is that I live my life really lightly. So I try to consume local. I try to support local brands and local products. I try not to overconsume. That's the other one as well. And I have a minimalist wardrobe, a seasonal wardrobe. I usually have second-hand clothing, and I don't buy new. I haven't bought new clothes for 2 years, although recently I have bought something new, so I've broken that spell. But it is completely doable. I don't get around with a car. I actually take the public transport, which is better for the environment, and I ride my bicycle everywhere. So it's really up to you, but start with what you think is valuable and stick to that. Maybe give yourself a challenge. So for example, you can do that for a week to see if you can manage, and then do it for 2 weeks, and then do it for a month, and then it becomes easier. Thanks.
Yeah. Correct. Like us, the youngsters always buy the new one, but must educate them to reuse back all the old clothes, let's say old clothes or everything's to be reused back. Okay. So this question for Haida. From Raja Irfan. Personally, what made you interest in sustainability?
For me, it actually I've always loved to shop vintage. I mean, this is like my first foray into this whole sustainability. I would say lifestyle that has become a lifestyle now. So when I remember when I was younger, 13, 12 years old, whenever I go on holidays, my dad he's the thriftiest person I know. I wouldn't say cheap. He's more thrifty. I mean, he's very resourceful. So I got that resourcefulness from him. So I remembered like when we go on holidays, we don't go to malls. We go to vintage like shops. And in the beginning, I thought like, why are we going to vintage shops? I want to go to the big malls and go see the brands and buy stuff from there. But then I realized as I grow older that I have bought so many fast fashion items throughout the years as I go vintage shopping as well. But every time I spring clean, the only thing I keep on discarding are the fast fashion items. But I have kept all my vintage items for all these years. Like I have stuff that I got from Los Angeles from I think that was like 2011, and I still keep it. And not just because it holds a sentimental value for me, but because I know that I think in some way these items back then, because fast fashion didn't really exist in the 90s or I think in the late 2000s, uh, people actually put thought into design. There are more details, there are more like workmanship, craftsmanship put into these pieces. So I really appreciate that. So because of my habits on shopping in fashion, it's somehow translated into how I shop in general for groceries, for or like how I drive to work, or it just becomes a lifestyle. And I have to say, especially after moving to Dubai is really big on the whole recycle and upcycle like movement. Um, everywhere I go when I shop, everyone brings a grocery bag. Everyone. It's such a weird thing to see, but because in Malaysia, only certain areas in Kuala Lumpur actually start practicing it. But if you go in certain places, they still shop plastic bags and everything. So in Dubai, it's like it becomes a lifestyle, and people have take on biking, and uh, and I mean, there's a conversation going about this as well, because not a lot of people really understand what it means to be sustainable. And for me, it is really about you taking the first, how you say, initiative to change. And it's slowly. You don't have to immediately like, okay, I'm going to cut this and but I think at the end you just sort of get into it. Slowly lah.
Yeah, correct. Okay, thank you, Haida. I also use an old shirt to as a grocery bags, a recycled bag, all the old
Oh.
shirt, and do as a grocery bag. Very nice, and also not expensive too. And we save the bumi also. See, okay. For the next question is for Miss Hana, if is it possible that we can came up the sustainable fashion that the price is same as the usual one, or maybe cheaper, to attract the consumer in the for the future? This question is from Amy.
Hi, thanks for the question, Amy. So pricing is a bit tricky on sustainable fashion, but I would say it is uh, possible in certain way, because if you would buy a sustainable products, they are the longevity of the product itself is much longer than the normal non-sustainable products. So in a way, you are in a way saving tons of money in that, and you don't need to buy more items because what you have technically is enough. So if you were to buy a bunch of things, then yeah, meaning that you going to spend quite a lot lah. So, and just because the manpower of making the the cost of manpower for sustainable items are much higher, so it does somehow makes the product a bit pricier than normal items that are not sustainable. So yeah, you can actually purchase organic cotton or organic any organic items, and it will last longer than the normal fast fashion. If yeah, I think because non-sustainable items would deteriorate after a few wash, and the at the same time it will somehow go back to the environment where it is a bit polluted lah. It will polluted the environment with bunch of washing. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Karina,
Yes.
add to what Hannah was saying, just for your
Yes.
view in terms of costs?
Yes.
People need to understand, and I don't know if you guys are learning about costing of fabrics
Costing.
and fashion retailing, but the
Yes.
cost of clothing that you see on the shelves right now is not a total cost of what it is to make those clothes or apparel or footwear. So there
The cost is about the skills, right?
and there's a bigger cost that's not being embedded within the cost of that baju or that whatever
Mm-mm.
you're buying. And
Mm-mm.
so it is important to understand that is why there is exploitation with fast fashion or things that you consume that is cheap. So the cost of a garment, the more expensive it is generally a reflection of the quality because you're not
Yep.
using inferior products or inferior
Yes.
fibers. And also, it is also generally paying people the right money, getting people protection. If you're pregnant, you can go off on maternity leave.
Yep.
Those sorts of things, and not using harmful chemicals and stuff like that. So, just to add to what Hannah was saying, I usually try and what Haida was saying in terms of vintage. I usually try my test for whether things are good to buy is whether my grandma approves it. So it has to pass my grandma's test. If my grandma reckons, this is shoddy, don't buy it because she knows what's good.
Yes, correct, Naja. Yes, correct. The price is depends on where it's sold, and also we must try to explore these every items for the sustainable, right? Okay, we have these few questions from Anwar Kumaira. Maybe one of you can answer this question. What is your advice to new designer or individuals who are looking to pursue their careers in sustainable fashion? Is there any further future career in sustainable fashions? Or anybody want to answer?
I can answer, but
I
someone
open it to you.
Well, okay, I can answer partly that, but because
Yep.
I'll be honest, I don't have experience in creating like a collection from sustainable materials, but I have seen how people have been very proactive about finding resources from ethical, how you say, backgrounds or resources. Like for me, the simplest place you can start, to start your collection or to create a design, is to just go sourcing at bundle stores and stuff like that. Places like that. I mean, I believe BGBG did a collaboration with Tishami, right? You guys did a beautiful, you guys upcycled kimonos to make into contemporary punya like design. And it's not the thing is like wait the thing is like it's possible there. In fact, the future is about sustainable punya collection. People are no longer would be keen to buy new stuff, if you get what I mean, because it's considered not trendy, but wasteful. And even now, we already have this conversation about with COVID and people losing jobs, and people are now even more concerned and how you say they're more calculative about where their money is going to now. And if they want to buy something, they don't want to just buy something that lasts for one season. They are willing to invest a little bit more to buy something that's not just thoughtful in design, but also would last a long time. So this is not just going to be a trend. This is going to be a lifestyle in the next, I don't know, 50, 100, who knows? It's going to be here for a while. And so I don't think designers or future designers need to worry too much about if this is going to be like that. This is not going to be a trend like, today platform heels are going to be in, the next day only sneakers or dad sneakers are going to be in. This is going to be in for good. So you just need to be innovative and proactive in finding ways to utilize. That's the beauty of this whole sustainability movement as well. It's about being able to innovate and find all of these approaches that you can employ to design and create. And this is a lot more exciting for me because you're taking a challenge for yourself to make something new and different.
Yeah. Okay. Like nowadays, COVID issue, we some no employment, no working. Like my student also, we start buying old jeans, RM 5 ringgits from bundles, and then we made a bag at the price of 30 ringgit. Now they do all the because of COVID, you see, they buy and recycle back all the things to be products. Okay, good. Haida, maybe who knows, this is become your new business nature. See, right? Okay.
I don't mind it.
Yes. So this is another question for Vicky Belinda. Thank you for the answer, Miss Haida. What are the challenge if you have been given a limited resources to design the clothes to make it more fashionable? This question from to Miss Najah.
Oh, hi. Thank you for your question, Vicky. I would probably answer in the same vein as what Haida was saying. So for me, creativity comes from constraints, right? So constraints. So like gone are the days where Haida is saying that, I want next season to be blue color and stripes. No, you don't do that. You actually go and actually redesign what you actually create with the things that you actually have now. So it's kind of like turning the supply chain backwards a little bit. So for me, constraint actually is the best ingredient in actually spurring creativity. So Belinda, to answer your question, I would give you a couple of tips. If you have limited resources to redesign clothing to make it more fashionable, firstly, obviously you understand what fashionable means. What I would say is I would, like reword that word to say actually stylish, okay? So make it stylish and wanted. If you have a resource constraint, I would say involve other people not from your community. So the reason why the fashion industry has been so, I guess, like inside its own bubble is that it's never asked, anyone outside of fashion to contribute to the industry for a long time. Even if they're doing it now, it's only just happening. So you might want to ask someone who's like me. I'm an environmental engineer. You might want to ask like someone in the construction industry, like, hey, I've got these materials. What do you think I can turn it into? Or like redesign it into something. And then they might come up with a different kind of concept in their head because they have no idea what kind of foundation are you built on. And then they're able to inject a little bit more sort of outside lens into what you do, because sometimes when you just like sit inside your own industry, you don't get a bit of perspective. So I don't know if I answered your question, Belinda, but my tip to you is to involve as many people outside of fashion as possible, to create something really cool.
Yeah. Okay. This for Vicky Belinda. Hopefully, Miss Naja already answer your question, Miss Vicky Belinda. Okay. Yes, correct. Meaning we cannot follow the yearly palette color. If we do all the fashion, cannot follow the yearly color. So this one, in this case. So the last question, maybe for all of you to answer. Okay. Do you have any favorite sustainable fashion brands that you would like to recommend to us, Naja, Haida, and also Hana? Can share it with audience.
Okay, who wants to start?
You go.
This is the last question. And why?
Naja,
Your favorite sustainable fashion? Any sustainable fashion brands?
But if I do, I love Bichi Bichi.
Oh, yourself?
I love Bichi Bichi.
Yeah, the BG bag.
Yeah.
But quite expensive because they sell at certain place.
I think, in terms of the amount that you spend on something, I think it's a bit of a treasure that you can keep for yourself and then keep for a long time, and then you can pass it on to the next generation and the next generation. Yes. And particularly that particular product has a story to tell. And that'll last me more than if I buy like a cheap top from H&M, which I'm going to forget. So I think you have to think about it that way. But I love BG designs, so yeah.
Okay, Naja, I love BBG. How about Aida?
What
is your sustainable fashion? Okay, you can share with us.
No, I mean,
and why you love.
this could also be a reference for all you other designers out there who are looking for like how you say inspiration for how these designers start with their label. So like BGBG stuff is cool. Like love the seatbelt thing that they have. They did this bucket hat with the kimono fabric as well. Like you said, like a lot of people, like Naja was saying as well, like a lot of people would probably say that, oh, this is like so mahal, like I don't think my customers
so
gonna find
mahal.
it. I think it's not about if it's mahal or not. Like you're buying something that's really unique and different.
Unique.
It's made out of like interesting fabric. Like as probably most of you know, kimono fabric. They all have a story to tell. It's not just a fabric. It is like a heritage fabric, right? So it's that, and I have been following this. I'll start with international designers as well. I've been following this label called, let me see, I think it's called Three Women Company. So this is actually a company based in Los Angeles. And these are girls who literally use anything that can be used as a fabric to form a collection. So they've done like pieces with tea towels, even guni beras, all the gunny sack, what do you call it, the potato sacks. Into really really nice beautiful designs. I wanted to wear it, and they went viral because of their designs. And they're not just like a trend, people actually like their stuff. So it shows that this formula or approach of using like sustainable material, like sustainably using materials that is already out there could work, and you could sell stuff too. Another formula or designer that you can follow is called Aloha. So Aloha has an interesting formula. I'm not sure if all of the stuff that they use is sustainable, using sustainable materials, but how they choose to conduct their business is sustainable. So they're using a pre-order formula. They said that they don't do Black Friday sales. They don't do all this silly, like, 70% off, 100% off. No, actually, that's quite bad, because that means it encourages you to buy more and more and more stuff you don't need. So they actually put out a statement. They're saying, sorry, panjang, but I'll make it short, I promise. But they kept on saying that, we don't want to do sale. We don't want to do mass-produced clothing. It's about you pre-order. So we only produce clothes that orang dah beli, so that they won't be any extra stock left behind. No waste.
No stocks. Yes.
Everything. So they do the pre-order formula, and their stuff is really cantik. They sell their stuff in Dubai, in big stores, Harvey Nichols, Boutique One.
Miss Aida, can you type there and sharing with us the name that you mentioned? Yes, no. Or any IG.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Maybe
Okay. So
our participant also can go and reference and research that all you mentioned about this company, right? Yeah,
Definitely,
very
I'll do
interesting.
that.
Thank you. Hopefully you share with us. Yeah.
Of course, local designer other than BGBT, Hatta Lomat just produced a new design collection, a new collection for Kuala Lumpur Fashion Week, made entirely out of upcycled bottles, right? Plastic bottles, and they're beautiful. It's an absolutely stunning collection, and I applaud him for that, because I think he's the first designer who actually used that material to do his collection. Banyak maroons there. Even Prada has started to use their old nylon punya material to do like the latest. They call it the re-nylon collection. So yeah, there are tons of designer references out there, and even for me, these are my favorite. Like I love these designers. So what you just all you need to do is just follow matchesfashion.com, and sometimes they will leave announcement saying that we have this new designer that's all about sustainability and blah 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 and all that. You will definitely, it's already out there. Just research you.
Thank you, Miss Aida. Okay, the last answer from Miss Hannah. Just a little bit sharing for you. What is your favorite sustainable fashion and why? Just a little bit, few minutes. We left now.
That's right, no problem. Okay, so I would definitely want to say BGBG, just because also I was in BGBG for a period of time. So I'm not a designer. I don't study fashion. So when I entered that scene, it's like very, very overwhelming, but super, super fun and interesting because you learn a lot about sustainable fashion. So because okay, the pricing wise, I can tell you that the reason why our price is set in that way because we work with refugees, we work with immigrants, and we work with local. All is local made, handmade punya people, tailors. So and also uh, we are following the WFTO standards, which is World Fair Trade, meaning that we pay our tailors uh, with the minimum wage because not a lot of people does that because usually people will pay like that macam I don't know $10 $20 for per product but we pay them at a very good amount so that's why hence our costs are a bit more pricey lah and
I see.
yeah so that's one of the reason as well and I guess uh like I love how like last year we went for KL Fashion Week with Ishami. So that period of time, it was for us it was super interesting because we are just trying to find things that we have already in our storage and just do it. So like Hada mentioned just now, the kimonos are very very valuable. Even though it's one piece, it's unique. It is from couple of years ago, not couple lah, maybe like 50 years ago. So they store the kimono uh just for the sake of heritage lah. They want to keep it because it's their national punya pride. So they believe in us to make this product. So in a way, again that's like the whole production line lah. So that's why I think BGBG has a nice punya other than the designs they are doing a bit goodness in well.
Thank you, Miss Hana. So I can see here, Miss Haida, Najah sharing their information here. So Miss Hana also, can you share any link or IG to us for research? Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally come to the end of this seminar. Before I close the seminar, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker have presented, that it is now a trend use recycled materials, right? Whether it is finished materials or textile as a source of value of the commercialization trend in the fashion industry. So hopefully we can work furthermore in future, inshallah. And I would like to thank so much to the speakers for the innovative and interesting presentations and to be the participants for every active participant here. Hopefully the seminar will be beneficially for everybody. Amin. Please give applause for the speaker and for you all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I give to Darunisha, MC, our MC.
Well, that's the end of Q&A session. We appreciate all the knowledge and that shared by our panels and moderator just now, and it really means for us. We would like to thank Ms. Naja On, an environmental engineer at Cloth Lifestyle, next Ms. Hana Kamal, a sustainable advocate, and Ms. Hada Yusof, an editor-in-chief of aerodigital.com and freelance fashion stylist. And not to forget our moderator, Ms. Asparina Samian, a creative director at Stage and founder of Asparina Swing Technology Academy. Thank you for your participation for our event today. Dear panelists and moderator, we have a request. Please kindly wait for a moment as we will be having an online photo session later. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, Fariha Bawal by Alia Mall and Summer Shop. Before we end, please make sure that you have scanned the QR code for the GEMS point. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you find today's talk is informative and useful. Thank you for your attention and time throughout with us from this event. Stay safe and have a good day.
Thank you, Darinish.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Miss.
Okay, thank you.
That's a reminder for students and participants. Please wait for a while after you scan the QR code because we'll be having the photo session in meanwhile.